Before we begin, let's take a brief moment to remember where we are. In the previous chapter, we explored who you are beyond the story your thoughts tell about you. You may have begun to see that the sense of I, the image you defend and identify with, is something learned, something constructed, and not the deepest truth of what you are. We also touched on what becomes possible when that image loosens its grip. More space, more freedom, and a deeper capacity for connection. In this chapter, we move from understanding to practice. We explore what happens when the ego feels threatened and how you can remain present, without defending an image of yourself. Let's begin.
I can understand many of these ideas when life is calm. But when someone criticizes me or blames me, something in me reacts immediately. It's as if my body or my mind almost compulsively wants to defend an image of me before I even have time to think.
I understand. And that is exactly where the practices become necessary. They help you move beyond the superficial image your thoughts have constructed and that most people mistake themselves for.
What should I do in the moment, when I feel criticized, blamed, or attacked, and I instantly want to defend myself?
Do something that may sound simple, but is not easy. Don't defend yourself, at least not right away. When you notice the urge to explain, justify, argue, or retaliate, pause. Allow yourself to do nothing for a few seconds. Not because you accept injustice, but because you want to connect more deeply with what is happening inside you before you act.
But if I don't defend myself, won't I become small or weak?
That is what the ego says. It equates defense with strength. But often, what you are defending is not your true self, it is just a superficial image. And when you stop protecting the image for a moment, something deeper can emerge: presence, compassion, respect, and awareness.
So the fear isn't really about the situation, it's about what I believe will happen to me if I don't defend myself?
Exactly. The fear is about identity. The ego whispers, if I don't fight back, I will lose something essential. But what feels threatened is not what you truly are, it is how you think you must be seen.
So what am I supposed to endure inside myself when I don't react?
The impulse. Whatever you are experiencing. Your inattention. The thoughts that say, I must respond, react, or defend myself. You are practicing staying with emotional discomfort without having to turn it into action. Because if you cannot tolerate yourself and what you feel and experience in that moment, you cannot be a source of safety for anyone, not even for yourself.
Why can it feel almost unbearable at first, like I'm about to disappear or lose myself?
Because the ego equates silence with erasure. But notice this. Even when you don't defend, you are still here, breathing, present and aware. What disappears is not you, it is the illusion that you must constantly protect yourself to exist.
What should I look for while I'm staying with that discomfort?
Ask one simple question. What do my thoughts predict will happen if I don't defend myself? Then notice the answer your mind gives. These are predictions, not reality.
And what if my thoughts say something extreme, like I will be rejected, I must defend myself and stand my ground in order to be allowed to exist, or I won't be respected anymore?
Then you are very close to the core. Those thoughts often come from old experiences, times when being rejected truly felt dangerous. You are not fully present, you are in memories, defending something that does not truly exist. All the threats your mind produces are just as unreal as the image your mind has constructed of you, in relation to what is authentic within you. Seeing this weakens your ego and softens its grip.
You've said that the present moment is the only thing that's real. How does presence help when my ego feels threatened?
Because the ego survives through interpretation. It lives in what has been and in what might come, in stories and interpretations of what something means or could be. Presence, and your willingness not to do what the ego wants or demands, brings you back to what is actually here and true. The more you allow yourself simply to be, instead of following the ego's drama, the more the ego weakens and you become freer, step by step. When you stop listening to thoughts that interpret discomfort and presence as something threatening, your nervous system begins to calm down, and it becomes easier for you simply to be.
So presence doesn't remove the uncomfortable feeling or the urge to react, but changes my relationship to it?
Indeed. You become more connected to what you truly feel and what you genuinely need, and, importantly, you stop defending, fighting, and resisting.
What happens in relationships if I always defend myself when I feel uncomfortable?
Then the relationship becomes unsafe. Because defense blocks listening and presence. If you want a loving relationship, you must be able to stay present even when discomfort arises, otherwise your ego will lead or control every conversation.
So when I stop defending, I'm not just doing this for myself, I'm also making the relationship safer.
Indeed. Your inner stability and presence become a gift to yourself and to others. When you don't react from fear or from your ego, others feel less threatened too. When you bring more presence, others feel safe enough to be present too. As I've said before, you cannot receive what you are not willing to give.
So what can I do instead of defending, if I still want to be real and honest?
You can listen. Ask yourself, what might this person be feeling? What might they need beneath their words? Sometimes the most powerful honesty lies in something very simple. I am here with you and I hear you. Or I think I need a moment.
Are you essentially saying that I could be grateful when I get triggered, or for the situations that provoke me?
In a way, yes. A difficult or provoking situation shows you that you are still identifying with your ego, or with something that is merely a fantasy image of who you are. And when you become aware of this treacherous identification with something that does not truly exist, and that causes your fear and makes you defend yourself completely unnecessarily, freedom becomes possible.
Do you have any exercises related to what we are talking about?
Indeed. Think of a recent situation in which you felt an irresistible impulse to defend yourself. Notice what kinds of thoughts arise as you enter that situation. What kinds of threat images do your thoughts construct? Ask, what did my thoughts believe or predict would happen if I did not defend myself? Also notice whether anything particular happens in your body as you return to that situation. Try to remember, your body does not primarily react to what is happening, but to what your thoughts predict will happen. Ask yourself, are you, who you truly are, actually under threat? Are the threat images your thoughts and your ego create really real? Try to meet yourself with compassion, considering the kinds of threats your mind is imagining. The more you blame yourself for how you reacted, the more likely you are to react in the same way again in the future. Try to be understanding toward yourself. It is not easy to live with a mind and ego that so easily imagine threats where none truly exist. Now imagine how it might have been if you had done nothing, if you had simply remained present with yourself for even 10 seconds instead of reacting immediately. You may even notice that nothing threatening would have happened if you had not been reactive. It was simply your ego that was afraid of losing its control. The intention is not to remove the discomfort that arises when you do not immediately follow your impulse or your need to react. Instead, you are practicing staying with something deeper and more true within you. The idea is that you stay, remain present, and sense at a deeper level instead of reacting automatically. If you can tolerate the discomfort of not reacting right away, that is, the suffering of the ego, you loosen the ego's grip, weaken the ego itself, and allow yourself presence and stability, the possibility to choose how you want to respond and be, and your freedom. Next exercise. Now imagine that you chose presence instead of defense. Ask quietly, what might you and the other person truly feel and need beneath the reactive surface in you, and beneath what the other person is doing or saying? In what way can you take both your needs and feelings into account, instead of reacting as if something is threatening you? What, then, can you bring to this situation that helps both of you be the best version of yourselves, despite the threats your mind so easily paint?
Gosh, I really hope I can pause and stay in touch with what is more real within me instead of being so ego-driven. So many situations would be far less draining, and might even become nourishing. So by being less in the eyes of the ego, I actually become more and can contribute instead of building barriers.
Indeed. When you realize you are so much more than your ego, you will be less reactive, more calm, safer, not only for yourself, but for both of you, and in addition, more free, more real. And you will begin to notice that you are far more than what you once believed yourself to be, when you were busy protecting an image of yourself, your ego, the me you thought you were. And through this deeper shift, you are much more likely to receive what you truly need. Next time the ego shouts, defend. Don't judge it. See it as an invitation. Not to disappear or die, as your ego may lead you to believe, but to allow yourself to truly be, not merely survive, but fully be.
In this chapter, you explored the courage it takes to remain present when the impulse to defend yourself arises. You were invited to notice how discomfort, criticism, or tension does not necessarily require reaction, and how staying with the moment can soften the sense of threat and open the door to awareness, safety, and connection. If you would like to deepen this exploration, the original guide, Love Unconditionally, is available in its entirety, free of charge, on YouTube. Thank you for being with us in these conversations. And if you found this episode meaningful, we would be grateful if you leave a comment or press the thumbs up. It helps others discover these dialogues and join the journey.